Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Backstage Pass podcast, coming to you from the show floor at ISE. I'm your host, Ben Barnard.
And I'm Samantha Powell. We're here on the last day of ISE, the 20th anniversary, and it's still just as magical on the final day. Usually at these shows, it tends to die down a bit, but it doesn't seem to really be like that today.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that's really stuck out to me is that often when you have a 4-day show, Friday can be considered the quiet day, and it's quite a lot quieter usually, but today just doesn't seem to have that vibe. It's still buzzing there, people all around us, like the stands are still busy. I think some of the exhibitors were hoping for a quiet day.
I think they were. They're not going to get it, but yeah, we still have some time to go and check out some of the other exhibits that we didn't get a chance to see, so there's a little bit more room to check them out, but yeah, no, I'm still feeling the excitement and the buzz here. So.
Yeah, and speaking of excitement and buzz as well, they've had the career day today, the ISE career day that AVIXA have organised, and we've had, I think last year there were 60 students that attended and did some matchmaking events and manufacturers and other employers kind of meeting with them. And this year we've got 90 students coming, so it's like a 50% increase on last year. It's quite incredible. So yeah,
it's just wonderful to see just how much things are growing and exploding, and people, are coming into this industry just even more energetic and excited to see all the new things that they can embark upon within this industry.
Yeah, and the workforce development piece is so important, but it's, we can talk about it as much as you like, but to have actually actions put in place and students really kind of coming along and getting involved is really encouraging. So really excited for their journey into the AV industry. I think now we're going to send it to an interview that I conducted earlier with Daryl Friedman, who is the CEO of CEDIA. So let's have a look at our conversation there. I'm here with Daryl Friedman, who is the Global President and CEO at CEDIA. Daryl, thank you for joining me.
Always a pleasure to be with AVIXA, our partners.
Excellent. How's the show been for you so far? We're here at the final day.
Yeah.
How are your feet feeling?
My feet are great. My heart is full. My brain's wired because of the excitement here. We've been seeing numbers coming in for months now, and knowing that's how successful the show is going to be, how popular it's going to be. But until you get here and you walk the floor and you talk to people and you see their excitement, you don't fully understand the importance of this show and the success of this 20th anniversary edition. It's just amazing.
Yeah, how's it been for you and the team as well? The whole sort of the buzz of the show. We were speaking earlier about the fact that we're here on the final day, but it doesn't feel as much like a final day as previous years. There's still a lot of energy in the room.
Yeah. I mean, I think the team is running on adrenaline. They just don't know how to fail. I have such great colleagues. They've been, working all day long, and they also, in the evening they'll go out and, let off some steam, which I appreciate. But the next morning they're right there and ready to go again, and they're all wearing the right shoes, and they're all just still ready for that last day. Some of them are actually staying on to do some team meetings after this too. So yeah. I admire their energy level, the younger folks especially, and but they've just nailed it. We've had a smart stage running constantly. We've had education upstairs. We have the booth. It's just so many activations. The team's just killing it.
That's incredible. What a wonderful team to be able to work with. That's great. And what are some of the key messages that CEDIA are looking to convey at the show this year?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. We had our annual meeting just across the booth at the Smart Home Technology stage, and that's our opportunity to really tell our members what's been going on. And our pillars are advocacy, connection, and education. Yeah. So on the advocacy front, we're very proud of the work we've been doing in government relations around the world, especially in the United States, where we've filed comments with the federal government about cybersecurity. We've done in-person lobby days in the State House, and we're going to Washington in March with our board to really lobby on some of the important issues for integrators. And that's happening around the world with integrator classifications, things like that. In terms of connection, obviously this is the best way to do that, but we'll be launching our CEDIA app this year so we can really keep our global membership connected when they're not in person at a trade show. And education, of course, we had a great conference up there. We're really excited. We have a whole new approach to our education conference at CEDIA Expo. So those are the messages we really wanted to convey to our members this year.
Excellent. Well, good luck with the lobbying. I hope it's successful. I'm sure it will be. Could you tell us some of the trends that have stood out to you at the show this year?
Yeah, it's been interesting. Of course, our legacy is AV and the amazing advances in technology in AV, some of the home theater projection screens, audio that we're seeing, many of them adopting our new recommended practice in immersive audio called RP22. So there's that kind of that legacy piece that's core to CEDIA.
Yeah.
But so many new things are happening. There was an entire conference on sustainability.
Yeah.
And we're seeing the importance of environmental, homeowner, energy savings, things like that. I really think that's one of the interesting trends for us. I mean, the old grid that I grew up with in my home with the breaker switches are a thing of the past. The next home will have, really a mini power plant that will be in connection with its utility and just energy savings and balancing the loads, things like that. So pretty excited about that.
Yeah, definitely. And are there any trends that you think you've seen maybe just sort of bubbling up that you expect to see more of at next year's show and beyond?
Well, certainly AI. It's on everyone's lips, and I think that's going to be the topic that will continue to grow. In terms of AI, I think right now what you're seeing is a lot of people in our industry using it for their business. They're using it to write proposals and to help promotional materials, things like that. I think what we'll be seeing more and more of is integration into the home, and the home really understanding the user. And when you walk into a room, you've got your phone in your pocket, your home will know what you need for that room without you having to do any commands. So we're really excited about the future of AI. We think it's going to be a great new sector for our industry.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess the final question is, what are your hopes and dreams for the future of ISE?
Well, certainly growth. I mean, we're building a new hall here at the FIRA, so we're going to be growing into that soon. Obviously, we don't know what the future will bring in terms of technologies, but every time I come here, I see something new that, this year a lot of AI, last year was virtual reality. So we want to always have ISE be on the cutting edge, because for 20 years, the technological changes, when you think about 2004, I was working at the Grammys at the time. We were just launching that year our first HDTV broadcast and 5.1 surround broadcast, which is so quaint today, right?
Yeah.
So you think about those technologies advancing, and those 20 years, ISE has not just kept abreast of them, but kept ahead of them. So what we want to see is that same sort of innovation and iteration and technological just advancement at ISE. So people know when they're coming to this show, they're not going to see the latest technology of the day, they're going to see the latest technology of tomorrow and beyond.
Yeah, definitely. And it just feels as though, so much changes, so much is advanced even year by year. When we come back to the show, we want to sort of see what the latest trends are and all that kind of stuff. But and it's been a year, and I think it feels like that's just getting faster and faster. We're evolving so quickly. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me, and good luck for the future of ISE. I can't wait to hear the numbers tonight or whenever they get released. That'd be absolutely fantastic. But so Daryl, thank you so much for joining me, and we'll send it back to the studio.
That was a great conversation with Daryl. Good job, as always, Ben.
Thank you very much. No, it was great to speak to Daryl about how he and the team have found the show, all the sort of the trends that they've been interested in seeing, and obviously we can't talk about trends without mentioning AI, which Daryl obviously did, and just about his hopes and dreams for the future of for ISE. So no, it was really great.
Absolutely, I'm excited to see. Yes, now that I've conquered my first one, I can't wait to see what's in store for us next year. So I can only imagine maybe many AI robots or so forth walking the halls. Hopefully, one can only hope.
Yeah, I mean that would be kind of scary, but I mean who knows. So as you say, it's your first time at ISE. Tell me about it. How was it from just like your user experience as an attendee of the show? How was it for you?
Oh my gosh, visual stimulation, it was on 1,000. Bring sunglasses was one thing I would say. It was really great. I would say navigating the halls took a little while for me, learning how to get in and out of the FIRA. Yeah. There were many days that I may have been walking around for about 40 minutes trying to find an exit. But no, it was just really eye-opening just to see all of the exhibits. Everybody was so helpful. One thing I really learned was, when you go to an exhibit, try to find somebody who's, with that company and just have that one-on-one conversation just so they can really tell you what you're looking at versus, me just staring there. But, even when you are staring there, you're talking with other people in the industry about, here what they could use this for and their experiences with that type of technology.
Yeah.
So that really helped in my understanding of, what I was looking at. So I really enjoyed just kind of wandering aimlessly and just having people help me learn about it. And there's so many other people, it's their first time as well. That's also something I really appreciated. That I didn't feel alone.
Yeah, and I think as well, from the sort of user experience to getting around the show perspective, it's been, ISE have definitely learned lessons from the feedback that we've got from attendees over the years, and especially over the time we've been in Barcelona. So this is the first year we've had 3 entrances open, because, it's great to create a bit of a buzz when people are queuing up to get in, but when the queue is like an hour long or something, it's not great. So I'm really pleased to see that it's been taken care of. The feedback's been listened to. That's great. The app, of course, finding, if you do need to try and find a booth, I found that really useful, and it's been great. As you know, I've been here quite a few times, and to have the number of people here, as we've seen, but still enough space to move around, has been fantastic.
Yeah, because I've heard about the numbers in the past, and I was like, it's going to be really tight and cramped. Not at all. You can feel that it's a very full and vibrant show. But yeah, you have space to meander around and find people to connect with, and they have all these nice little areas that you can chat with people and learn more about their products and just have those networking opportunities. So this is such an amazing show for them.
And also now you are no longer a newbie at the show. You can now offer advice to a first timer next year. So what would your advice be? Give us a teachable moment for a new person coming next year.
Definitely, as you had mentioned, download the app. That was very useful once I remembered, I have that app. It's time to start using it. In addition to, helping you find the booths and things that you want to see, it was great to get notifications of certain things that were going on. So okay, this is happening at this time, at this location. I need to go check that out because I'm interested. So it's been mentioned before, definitely plan ahead. Because if you think you're going to get here and I'll figure it out when you're not going to have enough time. And things are spread out and in such a great and organized way. So definitely plan ahead. And I would say for anything outside of the fair and dinners or anything like that, I learned that the taxi situation is it could be a challenge. So plan ahead.
Yeah, that's where the free Metro Pass comes in really handy. So all attendees at the show are going to get, they do get a free Metro Pass for the time that they're here. So that's really good for getting in and out of the city, which is great. But
I know there were some dinners that we were like, who's going to get there first? And us waiting for a cab and you taking the train. You've been there waiting for us. So that is a big lesson learned. And I also learned, while I love paella and I could eat it breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I understand, customarily speaking, it's better just to have the paella at lunchtime.
That's what the locals do, right? When in Rome or when in Barcelona.
I don't want to look like a tourist all the time, so now I order my paella earlier in the day.
Look at you giving all the advice. She's all grown up.
Incredible.
Am. So I think you've got an interview coming up on the show as well. So do you want to tell us a bit about that?
I do. I have the wonderful opportunity to chat with Dan Goldstein, AVIXA's very own Chief Marketing Officer. So let's take a look at that. I'm here with Dan Goldstein, our Chief Marketing Officer at AVIXA, and thank you so much for sitting down with me today.
My pleasure.
It's a wonderful ISE show, my very first. What are your thoughts or overall takeaways from the show?
Well, it's your first, Sam. It's my 20th. It's been my privilege to have been at every single ISE so far, and the show's celebrating its 20th anniversary, and it's come such a long way. And actually sounds like a long time, right? 20 years, but actually in the event industry and trade show industry, it's no time at all. And to see the show expand over time, expand so quickly, broaden out into so many areas of new technology and just become like the hub that it's become for the global AV industry to kind of come together as an energized community. It's just been amazing. And
so you weren't always with AVIXA when you were coming to ISE. So can you tell us a little bit, what were you doing coming to ISE for all 20 years?
Right, no, why, Well, so I started off selling sandwiches.
Okay, well, really. I would buy it from you. I trust you.
So I started off as a media partner. I was working in the AV press at UBM in London, and actually I was at the first ever ISE press conference, which was actually in 2003, before the first show, I think there were three. I was one of three journalists to be invited to that event, so that shows you how small it was. It wasn't that I was particularly important, it was just a small show, right?
Always
so
important, Tan.
yeah, three people. I think there were like 800 press there here this year, so that gives you an idea of the evolution there. So a media partner for the first 1, 2, 3, 4 years. And then I actually joined the staff of ISE itself in that kind of 5th or maybe 6th year. Started off just doing their public relations, press relations, communications, and then a year or two after that became responsible for the whole marketing and communications, the whole kind of content strategy, growth strategy for the show. And I did that for quite a while, like between 2007 and 2014, that was a wild ride. You know, we grew really fast in Amsterdam, and we were actually coming to, in a way, I guess, moving from being the head of marketing at the show and then becoming head of marketing for AVIXA globally. It's kind of a natural step in a way, given that even in 2015 we were pretty much at capacity in Amsterdam. We couldn't really grow it a lot more. We grew it a bit more, but only by building some pretty ugly temporary tents, and you know, it wasn't a great experience for anybody. So the move to Barcelona really couldn't have come at a better time, except that unfortunately a small pandemic got in the way, and I went from being incredibly excited about seeing this amazing venue empty to incredibly disappointed that we couldn't have the show here that we wanted to have. And so that sense of kind of coming back, and now, you know, we're not back to how the show was. We're not back to pre-pandemic or anything like that. We are a totally different kind of event, a totally different kind of event experience for the industry, and some of that definitely is because of this venue and because of the city of Barcelona and the fact that it's just such a great place to have an event like this.
So what would you say are some of the, key innovations, things that caught your eye on the show floor?
Yeah.
Like, was there anything that stood out to you?
Yeah, I think the first thing that stood out to me was actually the first thing I went to on the first morning, which was the lighting and staging area in Hall 1, which is a new hall this year. I think we opened it a little bit earlier. I could be wrong about that. Anyway, it was already very, very busy, and that was great for me because that has been a bit of a kind of missing component. More of that kind of, live venues, live entertainment, live shows, live touring is a side of the AV industry that maybe the show still needed a little bit more of. We've always had plenty of the big screen displays, the big LED, direct view LED stuff. We've always had we've had plenty of audio, the sound side, for quite some time, but the lighting and the staging were the sort of missing link almost.
Okay.
And now they're here in force. And in fact, I've just found out that they're going to be moving from that hall to a much bigger hall, Hall 6, just down the road here, in 2025 to accommodate the demand for space.
So they're going to be expanding.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So that is something that we're going to look forward to. Yeah, I still have some time today to go check that out.
Yeah,
so
you should. You totally should. It's on your way out. It's convenient.
If I can find the way out. We've had a conversation.
Right.
It's sometimes challenging to do.
I hear you.
So yes, like this being a global show, I want to talk to you a little bit about the impact that ISE has on the AV industry.
Yeah.
So can you speak a little bit to how having the show here in Barcelona with, all people coming from everywhere and, having those discussions, like how does that impact our industry?
It helps to grow the industry. It helps to make it more global, more international, more outward facing. The various exhibitors here, and there are over 1,400 exhibitors here, right? And people have got a different reason to be here. Some people just want to, some companies, they've got a very established distribution network, and they just want to reconnect with that network and use it as a kind of networking opportunity, just checking in with their business partners, making sure everything's good. Others are much more about finding completely new partners, completely new channels. So companies that are new to this marketplace don't have a distribution network, don't have any dealers, they don't have any branding, brand reputation. So they're really looking to sort of plant a flag in the sand and build a network from scratch. And then I think there's a third category, which is companies that have their distribution network. They are established, right? but they are trying to get more information about how AV solutions are being used and deployed by the end user community. And so they want us to bring not their existing channel partners, they can do that bit themselves, but bring end users and other kinds of decision makers, the design community, architects, facilities management people, IT decision makers, CIOs, CTOs. It varies depending on the exhibitor, right? But they want us to bring new people, not because they want to necessarily sell directly to them, but because they want to find out how are the needs changing. And the best way to do that is in a place like this where you see so many different applications being showcased on the show floor.
And because the show is just so full of opportunities to network with so many people, and you were just talking a little bit about that, can you speak about some of those opportunities? I know right here we're in the AVIXA member lounge right next to the exchange stage, and if people are hearing sounds of coffee and espresso things, you know, there's always something fun.
That's right.
Something to get people to gather together.
Part of the experience,
right? Can you speak a little to the importance of that at these type of shows, and especially here at ISE?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, one of the ways in which the show has changed so much in the time that I've been connected to it, which is all time essentially, is that it used to be dominated by sales, and it used to be dominated by engineering. And there's nothing wrong, you know, you need those functions, right? We wouldn't have an industry without a sales team, wouldn't have an industry without an engineering team. But it was lots of black boxes, I'll be honest with you. It was lots of display cases with black boxes and little cards with bullet points on them, you know, showing the feature set. And I see the show's evolution in, you know, stages, right? We've gone from being about products, then we go to systems where the products are connected together. Then you go from systems to solutions, so it's not just the products connected together, it's actually a holistic solution for a company or even several companies connected together around the world. And then I think you move from solutions to business outcomes, right? So what's this actually doing for me? Is it making my company more productive? Is it connecting the workforce better? Is it, if I'm in retail, like is it enhancing the customer experience, people using my stores? So it's now very much a show about outcomes and applications. It's certainly not a product show anymore. Actually, I was having a conversation with a couple of journalists earlier today, and they were like, it's gone, right? The whole thing of here's our new black box and lifting the curtain off, and it's like, ba-da! And that just doesn't happen here anymore because it's really not about the products. It's certainly about technology, no doubt about that. Technology is absolutely front and center, but it's the application of that technology that's different. And I would say that we as AVIXA, because of that, we approach the show very differently. And if you had seen our booth, you know, a decade ago, it looked nothing like this. We were not connecting with our community the way we're doing on Exchange Live. We were actually, I think at a certain point in time, in order to talk to AVIXA, you actually have to have an appointment to go behind a closed door.
Really?
It was kind of members only kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah, we're almost like a secret society. And we certainly were not filming AVIXA TV on our booth and making a contribution not just to the show, but to the way the show kind of lives on through the year with content that people can watch on demand, on their own device, in their own home or in their own office, and then share it with their co-workers, which is what you and I are doing right now, right? They're producing that content. AVIXA wasn't doing anything like that. And actually, a lot of, not everybody by any means, it depends, you know, but a lot of the exhibitors here also make contributions to that year-round content. You cannot move at this show without running into someone who's got a GoPro on a tripod, right? And so, you know, it's not just the old media community, they still do their job, right? But many companies here are content creators in their own right now. And if you think about it, we're the AV industry, why wouldn't you do that? You know, why wouldn't you be posting to YouTube and Instagram and so on and so forth? So I'm really excited about that. And that's why I say I still think the show can get bigger, because I think we're the industry that can use our own tools, our own technology to broaden our message to a bigger audience and bring that audience to the show.
Absolutely, yeah. Like if there's any place to have, those connections, those conversations, people doing their own content, please come to ISE and use this
and be part of this yourself.
Absolutely, yes. And and continue that conversation on the exchange. It doesn't have to just stop here.
Absolutely not.
And that's one of the things I really liked coming to see.
Yeah.
And seeing people going out to dinner and meeting up with new people that they haven't met and continuing those conversations and exchanging ideas and fully fleshing out how those solutions can work within their own environment. Just having that continued dialogue. So this has been just really eye-opening. So where do you see ISE going in the future? I know you were I'm hearing it's going to be even bigger, better, grander. What do you see going forward?
I think obviously, like I said, 2025, we know there's going to be a change with lighting and staging moving, but I'm, in my job as CMO, I'm looking further ahead than that. And I'll tell you, it is scary, right? When you have a show that's this broad, there are so many directions that you could take it, right? And we were sitting with our exhibitor advisory committee yesterday. We've got 20 exhibitors in the room, and we have 20 different opinions about where we should go next.
Not just one, really?
No, funnily enough, they did not coalesce around a single topic. It's odd that. So we've got some big decisions to make, I think, about where we go and where we decide not to go. But I'll tell you one thing that I think I absolutely do see. 5 years from now, I think when we walk through those doors here at the FIRA, the show will be unrecognizable from what it looks like today. In the same way that it's unrecognizable from how it looked in Amsterdam 5 years ago, it's going to be very, very different again. And that's not just because the technology will be shifting, but also because when you think about it, this is, a great big trade show floor is not necessarily the best way to get across what the Power AV really is. And I think a lot of the most impactful things that we do here are actually away from the show floor. Some of the experiences that ISE has put on, the keynotes, the things that are going on in the city, and the things that AVIXA puts on in terms of the conference program, content program, show floor stages, this thing, that thing. Actually, I think as the show gets younger, not necessarily, and it won't necessarily get younger in terms of more and more younger people coming, but you always get demographic change over time. A certain generation of people retires, and then a new generation comes in, and we definitely see an evolution in the exhibition industry of exhibitions becoming a little bit less about the show floor and a little bit more about being a festival, a little bit more about being a community platform, a little bit more about being more about intentional networking, intentional thought leadership. And that's something when you work in the exhibition industry as opposed to the AV industry, it's the kind of thing that you take note of. And then the wonderful thing for me is that the exhibition industry and the AV industry are connected together, right?
Yeah.
Right? So AV will actually move from this show onto multiple stands, thousands of stands at thousands of trade shows all over the world. And that show could be about concrete, or the show could be about broccoli. Together we change the way people experience the world. That's our tagline as an association. We can change the way people experience what they think about concrete, what they think about broccoli through our technology, and that's the power of it. You almost start to see ISE and shows like ISE as being that hub around which together we change the way people experience the world. That conversation continues to drive forward. Okay, how is that change happening? And who are we? Who is the together? Who is the community? Who are the new people that don't currently see themselves as AV people, but in the future we want them to become part of our network and part of our community. So that, in a way, yes, it's a great. So I love the tagline. Don't get me wrong. I'm a CMO. I'm very proud of it.
It's a very good tagline.
But it kind of it also makes a statement, but it also raises questions. And part of ISE's job over the next few years is to come up with answers to some of those questions.
Oh, and in addition to ISE, we have a portfolio of other amazing events. So obviously this one is very important and one of the largest.
Yeah.
So is there any insight or things that you're looking forward to with the upcoming shows that we've got going on?
Yeah, absolutely. I think at Infocom in Las Vegas, you know, we're going to be at this in the city. Much as I love Barcelona, I think you can't beat Vegas for its ability to showcase innovations in AV and new applications of AV. And you've got in the Sphere, right? You've got we're the Audiovisual and Integrated Experience Association. That entire building is an audiovisual and integrated experience.
So excited
it's
to see
the whole
that.
reason it exists, right? And it's really the first of its kind, but it's not going to be the last of its kind. There are going to be multiple examples.
And I learned a lot about 2110 and that incorporation of that in the CM learning.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. But then, that's the most extreme example, right? But then you get things like the Fontainebleau Hotel, and you get, you know, all these different applications. Vegas is constantly pushing the envelope in terms of what's possible. That's also true, by the way. I mean, we have our Infocom China show in Beijing in April. I'm going to that for the first time, and I'm excited about. And I hear some wonderful things about what the Chinese are doing with our technology and how they're incorporating it without some of the kind of legacy, right? And same is true. We have that Mumbai show in India. We have our Asia show in Bangkok, and they're all kind of back on a proper schedule now. And all of those markets, they've skipped steps, right? They've skipped the last, you know, certainly the first 10 years that ISE was around. So that kind of evolution that I was talking about, the boxes to the systems to the solutions, they've skipped those first two steps. They've gone straight to solutions. And they're solving problems, those markets are solving problems that perhaps we in Europe and we in North America are still grappling with, just because they're coming to it with a fresh perspective. They haven't got any the same amount of legacy thinking, and they're just looking at something going, yeah, we can fix that. And just applying things a little bit differently. And that's one of the wonderful things about having this global portfolio of events is that we can start to figure out how AV is being used in different parts of the world, and then we go back and we go back to the office and we say, hey Sam, look at this amazing project that we've just been walking around in Mumbai. This could be something for AVIXA TV, right? And then because of the magic of, you know, the cloud and streaming and all that kind of stuff, we can have somebody there shoot a video, upload it for us, we edit it, and it's on AVIXA TV. And also all those barriers, just a great way actually of sort of looking at how AV is removing those barriers to communication, those barriers to content acquisition and content distribution. None of that existed 20 years ago. Like, that was just, I was a media partner, and I did like an ISE news service. I had a USB stick,
Okay.
and there were like a few different plasma screens around the show floor, and they had a USB port, and I was walking to update the content. I was manually walking around the show each morning, uploading some headlines so that if people were sipping their cappuccino, they could get just headlines.
And just putting
text.
it on the
screen. Yeah, just text. No images, no, certainly no video, no animation,
Wow.
nothing.
How far we have come.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
No, I'm so excited, yes, for all that information that you're going to be bringing back from that show.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's wonderful that we're so interconnected, and just understanding how, you know, how advanced maybe other regions are, and like how we can just use that, and everybody can get up together at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Knowledge sharing, you know, we're all knowledge workers, right? And it's part of our mission, part of our responsibility as a non-profit association is to be that central source of information and knowledge sharing. And we have such amazing platforms now on which we can do that. We're not dependent very important to get people face to face from time to time, but we're not completely dependent on those platforms the way we used to be. We now have the ability to do it online, which I think is fantastic.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time and sitting down with me.
My pleasure. Thank you.
I wish I had all day. We'll have to find time.
Neither of us has all day, Sam.
No. Yes, we still have some more time to go on the show floor and probably a few more meetings or so.
Yeah, just a few though.
I know, just a few. But yes, we'll definitely continue these conversations on the exchange as well as on AVIXA TV. So the excitement and energy doesn't stop here at ISE. So please continue to follow us. And thank you again, Dan. Really appreciate it. Anytime I have the opportunity to chat with Dan, it's always a pleasure. He's just so full of knowledge, and I just really appreciate his perspective. So I'm really grateful that I had that opportunity to talk with Dan.
It's great as well having, it's obviously Dan was previously working for ISE and now working for AVIXA in a different relationship with the show. It's it was a really great interview.
Yes.
So
always has great perspective. So that was wonderful.
So we've come to the end of our run of the Backstage Pass podcasts. What's been your favourite thing about doing this whole thing? The AVIXA TV, the podcast, everything. What's sort of stood out for you?
Well, obviously, number one, getting to work with you in person.
Barely need to mention it. Yeah.
I know we've had many opportunities to do the Teams thing, but it was wonderful to meet you in person and just to have such a great chemistry and our AVIXA TV, first time here at ISE, absolutely perfect. No issues, no. No.
I mean, the show must go on, as they say.
The show always must go on, but it was such a great experience to do that with you. And also just even the behind the scenes work that our production team was doing, as we were getting prepared for AVIXA TV, seeing them running around and getting ready to do some of those Backstage Pass, the series and things like that, and going, to this place to film that, and then actually seeing the footage that they were able to produce in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even go through my photos and crop something in the time that they've already put together, a whole piece that it's now on AVIXA TV, and so that was really wonderful. And just some of the experiences, like Casa Bacchio, the first day, meeting Sophia, it was just wonderful. I'm in the city and I'm hearing her name yelled out on the loudspeaker, and then actually being able to sit with her.
Yeah, that was pretty special.
And a lot of our guests who've been doing so many great things in the industry. So that's what I would say for me. What would you say for you at this ISE?
Well, I think I want to talk a bit about evolution.
Okay.
So the evolution of, let me see, my ability to use a teleprompter.
You are phenomenal at that.
Well, started off, did not feel comfortable at all. Second day, used it, loved it. Third day, I put so much stuff on there. Basically my life story on the teleprompter. So that was...
teleprompter? We didn't even use, that was all in our head.
Oh yeah, well we'll cut this bit out, don't worry.
Yeah, don't let them know that.
The evolution of our intros to the show. We started off, just sort of, hey, welcome to the show, and we walked in to the end, kind of doing an a cappella 4-part harmony of a Boyz II Men song.
And our audience needs to know, that was not planned well in advance. It was literally, hey,
spur of the moment.
We didn't know that each of us could sing. So the fact that went so well, and now that's going to probably continue, so there may be an album that people could get on, Apple or wherever they get their music.
Who knows? I mean, you just got to give the people what they want. And also, evolution of the color of, so Mark Metzger, our show floor producer, the evolution of the shade of color on his face when, things started to maybe look like they were going awry. I think I've seen every color of the rainbow there. And the expressions that he had, it was great. I'll remember that forever.
We love having, a dump button for certain times. Yeah. Things have to be said.
Just fantastic.
But no, just all of these opportunities to work. Yeah, they're such they're a great group, and they don't get enough credit. So
in all seriousness, it's been fantastic working with the whole team.
Yes.
Obviously Noreen as well here at the show. We've got Leon, we've got Gibran, and also Carrie back at home.
Okay,
she's doing an incredible job. She's even getting up early and sort of sending us Teams messages, updating documents. all that kind of
The
stuff.
time difference meant nothing to her. She was up
Exactly,
at the
and
crack of
you know,
dawn.
and all the pre-meetings
and
that we
Charles
had
as well.
Charles of course
Thoreau,
as well.
we appreciate
yeah.
all that.
All the pre-meetings that we had as well, you know, with all the presenters. I mean, we had about 16 segments, I think, in total for the live show.
Yeah.
And having meetings with all of those people, getting familiar. It was a lot of work, but it was definitely worth it, and it made the show so what it was.
It did, and I think through those meetings now, yeah, we've created additional relationships, and you know, they're introducing us to additional people that we should continue to talk with, and you know, a lot of them have already been, you know, contributing to the exchange online, and so we want to continue to have these conversations that we were having here continue on the exchange as well. So
Yeah,
this
definitely.
has just been 360 full circle, just a wonderful experience. I can't wait to continue these conversations throughout the year and at all of our additional events that are going to be taking place.
Yeah, I mean, we've done it here at ISE. You know, we've got the Infocom show, Infocom Asia. We've got Upstream. We've got loads of things where I'm sure we're going to be broadcasting from and doing all sorts of fun stuff. So yeah, look forward to all that content, and yeah, keep an eye out for it.
Yep, and keep following AVIXA TV. So we're going to keep this content and conversations going. So the fun doesn't end here. So continue to follow.
I guess that's it. So yeah, until the next time, from me and from Sam, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.